Argentina has jumped into the citizenship by investment conversation. The government is currently in discussions about a potential 2026 launch, and a lot of marketing noise is already claiming you'll soon be able to buy an Argentine passport. Welcome back to Passport to Possibility with me, Kevin. Today I'm again joined by Jennifer Harding-Marlin to walk through what's actually happening, what's been announced, what's still just speculation, and how Argentina compares to other 2026 planned CBI programs you've heard us previously discuss. Countries like Botswana, Tonga, and St Vincent and the Grenadines. Let's get into it. Now, Jennifer, before we get lost in rumours, can you walk us through the hard facts? What has Argentina announced so far when it comes to a citizenship by investment program?
Yeah. Argentina's government issued an executive decree putting in place the citizenship by investment framework, allowing for an investment migration program as part of a wider economic reform package. So this marks a significant policy change compared with the past. So there's several serious investment migration firms describe this as a planned citizenship by investment route, not just residency, but the program is not yet operational. The government also launched an international tender to appoint a master concessionaire or agent to help design and manage the system, with the tender closing in early 2026. And crucially, it's important to note that detailed implementation, regulations, fee schedules, and application procedures have not yet been published for or tested in real cases. So no one can legitimately file a full citizenship by investment application today. And we have a growing waitlist of clients who are interested in getting Argentina citizenship.
Right, so big picture, Argentina is well past some politician mentioned it in a speech stage. There's a legal decree and even a tender for a master agent. There is still no functioning program. For viewers, that means this is something to watch, not something you can apply for this week. Now, a lot of released articles are throwing around numbers. Based on the most reliable information, what kind of minimum investment and target sectors are we talking about for Argentina?
So the most credible guides are converging around a minimum investment in the region of around US 500,000, although that could move once the regulations are final. So the emphasis seems to be on productive investments rather than necessarily pure donations. So perhaps agribusiness, renewable energy, technology, tourism, and infrastructure projects. And some sources suggest there may be multiple routes, such as investing cash into qualifying funds, backing specific projects, or setting up businesses that meet job creation or economic impact criteria. We do not know yet whether there'll be a simple donation style track like you see in many Caribbean programs, or whether everything will be tied to commercial or development activity. Right,
so right now investors should think in ballpark terms around $500,000 US into real world Argentine sectors the government wants to grow. Not a quick write a check to a national fund and you're done, like some of the classic Caribbean options that we've talked about. Okay, now one of the biggest questions clients ask is whether this will be true direct citizenship by investment, or whether a residency requirement will appear in the fine print. What do we know and not know about that query?
So some commentary describes Argentina's plan as a direct citizenship by investment route with no prior residency, which would place it conceptually alongside countries like Grenada and Dominica. However, until we see the final regulations, we have to assume there could be a minimum presence requirement, staged residency, or performance conditions tied to the investment. And Argentina already has investor and entrepreneur visas that lead to citizenship after a period of residence, so policymakers may borrow elements from those schemes as well. And in other jurisdictions we've covered, early marketing has sometimes been more generous than the eventual law, especially once international pressure and due diligence standards are taken into account.
Yeah, the language so far leans toward direct CBI, but any promise of no residency guarantee passport is premature. Until regulations are signed, tested, and we see final official details, a sensible position to hold is that there could be some kind of residence or performance requirement attached. Let's talk about the payoff. If this launches in 2026, roughly as advertised, what does an Argentine passport actually give you? And how does that compare to more familiar citizenship by investment programs we've previously discussed?
Argentina currently offers a strong passport with visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to a large number of destinations, including the Schengen area, and extensive access across Latin America. And additionally, as a Mercosur member, Argentina provides additional regional mobility and settlement possibilities in neighboring South American countries, which is a different type of benefit than most Caribbean CBIs. We're also dealing with large diversified economy with real industry, agriculture and services that can be attractive, but it also comes with more complex tax rules and macroeconomic volatility. And compared to the programs you and I have covered, Argentina looks more like a bet on a major regional power with real economic exposure rather than a small, stable, low-tax island that is mainly used for mobility and a quiet plan B.
So if this becomes real, an Argentine passport sits in a very respectable tier, along regional rights and a big domestic economy behind it. But it's a very different story from using a Caribbean island as a simple, quiet hedge. You're tying your second citizenship to a large, sometimes turbulent country in Latin America. Finally, for people watching who are excited by the idea of a Latin American citizenship by investment, what are potential risks for early adopters, and how should they treat Argentina in their planning at this stage?
The first risk is legal uncertainty. We have a framework and a tender, but not the final regulations or a track record of actual approvals. Laws and implementing rules can change between announcement and execution, so that's something to keep in mind. And second, there is political risk. A change in government or a shift in public opinion could delay, restrict, or even cancel the program, especially if it becomes controversial domestically. And third, there is operational and reputational risk. Argentina's own documents stress strong due diligence involving immigration, financial intelligence, and security agencies that is positive for quality, but could translate into complex slow processes at the start. And there's industry risk. When a new program is in the air, some intermediaries rush to market pre-applications and collect fees before the rules are final and laws are final. So serious investors should avoid committing funds until there's clear legislation, official fee schedules, and a transparent application channel. And at this stage, Argentina should sit on a watch list alongside other potential new programs, while real planning continues to be based on established functioning CBIs with known timelines and outcomes.
Right. The central approach is to treat Argentina as an emerging opportunity, not a finished product. Stay informed, follow the legal developments, and decide whether a Latin American passport fits your long-term strategy. But build your actual plan B on programs that already exist, already work, and already have a track record. We'll keep tracking Argentina as the regulations come out, and just like we've done with other planned but still unreleased programs in places like Botswana, Tonga, and St Vincent and the Grenadines, we'll update you when there's something concrete and real to work with. Next time we'll be looking at Malta's new citizenship by exception model, what it really is, who it's for, and why it's not a normal checkbook CBI. If you don't want to miss that or our other deep dives, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Kevin.